Hello, and welcome to the Path of Most Persistence. This is a place where we hear and share tenacious stories of overcoming obstacles with our partners who dare to share a bit of their own personal paths.
Dr. David de Sousa has over 19 years of higher education experience in student recruitment, international programs, and retention. He currently serves as the Associate Director for the Engineering Academies at Texas A&M University. Dr. de Sousa holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Agriculture Development from Texas A&M University and an MBA from Texas Women's University and a PhD from Texas A&M University in Agriculture Leadership, Education, and Communication, in addition to 2 associate's degrees from Blinn College. He believes it's his privilege to work with students, guiding them in making decisions that positively impact their future. David, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
This is exciting to me because you are the Associate Director for the Academies. And as I've had a conversation previously with Dr. Lawley, I'm a big fan of the Academies. So to have you with me today in this time means a lot. But let's start off with your position. And for those, our audience, that don't know about the Academies, what are the Academies?
Absolutely. So the Texas A&M Engineering Academy program, it's a program where we partner with community colleges across the state. As of right now, we have 8 community colleges that we have partnered with. And we also have industry partners as well. So students in the Engineering Academy program are co-enrolled both at Texas A&M University and at one of these partner colleges. So they can stay anywhere from 1 to 2 years, and then they don't transfer to Texas A&M. They transition to Texas A&M and finish their degree either here in College Station or in Galveston or in the McAllen Center as well in South Texas. The benefit of this program is that since they're Aggies from day one, they get a Texas A&M ID. They are able to use our engineering facilities when they come to campus. We also bring the students to campus multiple times a year because we really want them to feel that they're part of the Aggie family. So, for example, this year we already brought the students 3 times. So we're planning to also bring in them later this spring for a tailgate. So it's just a program where students can stay locally and also save money. Mm-hmm. I was a community college student myself, and I'm very passionate about this program because I see a lot of the students the way I was several years ago.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to get to that because I want to get to your background. But you explained a lot about the academies, what you do for students. But I want to go back to 2 phrases that you use, 2 words that you use to really distinguish this program. You use the word transition versus transfer. So if our audience didn't catch it, I just want to make sure that we distinguish what the difference is between those 2 terms?
Absolutely. So what I mean about transition is that our students are already a Texas A&M student. So what they do pretty much is just pack their stuff and move to College Station or one of our locations. For transfer students, it's different. They have to complete a transfer application through Apply Texas and then go through the transfer application process. Our students are just like the freshmen. They're here at Texas A&M in the College of Engineering. They go through the entry to a major process. So they're really at the same level as our students here. So they compete together with the students in College Station for one of the 22 majors that are currently offered through the entry to a major process.
Thank you for covering that, because I think for the whole concept of what an academy is, I think sometimes people think, okay, was that kind of like a junior program? But I just want it to be very distinctive that they are like you said, A&M students, they're just in a different location. All the things, they get all the activities because you guys, as you mentioned earlier, you're bringing them on campus for all the activities.
Correct.
That is so beneficial. And I love that concept too, just because of my background in secondary education. But it makes the prestigious Texas A&M University, the College of Engineering, so much more attainable for those that just can't leave home.
That is correct. And it provides that opportunity to the population of our state. We are a land grant institution. We're here to serve the population of our state. And it's a way to do it is through the Engineering Academies. In addition to that, there is a big need of engineers, not only in Texas, but in the United States and the world. And we really try to fulfill that need as well.
I love that you brought that up. So when you say that need of engineers, I'm sure you've encountered situations that I'm getting ready to outline here. So for us, sometimes when we work with young people, when we talk about the possibilities of being an engineer, I think some of them have a preconceived notion of what an engineer is. And, I've had this practice with some young people, and I'll say, close your eyes. What does an engineer look like? What does a nurse look like? What does your teacher look like? And in their mind, for whatever reason, it's something very distinctive. But we want to break those molds for a lot of students. So for the young people that are listening, what does an engineer look like? What can they look like?
They can look all different backgrounds, really. It can be male, female. It can be individuals from different ethnicities. Yes. It's mostly for those people that love to solve problems. They are problem solvers. And usually when I meet with students, when they ask me, what is an engineer? What is engineering? Yes. I ask them to look around. Just look around this classroom. Look around this building. All of these were designed by engineers. Yes. And that's what engineers do. They invent, they build, they are problem solvers.
I love it. Thank you for phrasing it that way. So back to what you were saying in the opening, you started off your educational career at Glenn College.
That's correct.
So why does the academies resonate so much with you and your background?
Well, it's so interesting because I have 3 siblings. 2 of them went straight to Texas A&M. And then whenever it was my turn to apply to Texas A&M, our family was going through a lot of financial difficulties. And so my option really was to start at a community college, although I did not know much about the community college system. Then, of course, it coming from another country, from Brazil. But I knew it was a place where I could start and then later transfer to Texas A&M University. So I started at Blinn. I remember the first day I went to Blinn College, there was a line of that we had to wait for 3 hours just to enroll. And I had no idea what courses to take. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to study, but I knew that's where I started taking my basics. So then what I did, I took the regular core curriculum courses, which are the math, sciences, the histories, the government courses. So I registered for that. And then throughout time, I worked with an advisor, both at Blinn College and at Texas A&M. And the advisor at Texas A&M told me exactly what courses I needed to take in order to transfer to Texas A&M and what GPA I needed to maintain as well. So for financial reasons, I stayed at Blinn as long as I could. So I stayed there for 2 years, and then I transferred to Texas A&M University, to the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. So my goal back then, when I decided on a major
Yeah.
to major in agriculture, was to work in the industry field. But when I was a senior in college, I was invited by the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, by one of the associate deans, to do recruitment, student recruitment, both in Houston and South Texas. And that's where I fell in love with higher education. So when I graduated from Texas A&M University, instead of going into working for the industry, the agriculture industry, I really wanted to do something different, something that I fell in love with, which was higher education. So my first job out of college was working for Texas A&M at the Dallas Prospective Student Center as a recruiter. So my job was to recruit high school students, and my other focus was transfer students.
Okay. So because I'm a professional educator myself, let's talk about that falling in love with education. Okay. So what was it? Since that was not in your plans to go into higher education, it probably wasn't in your plans to ever work as a recruiter of young people going into education. So what was it that made you fall in love?
It was talking to prospective students when students had no idea what college was like, why get an education. And I was able to just share my own story with them and why I chose the field that I chose of study. And then after that, I stayed in higher education. I have been working in the higher education field, of course, for over 19 years now. And I thought about leaving a few times because when I was younger, of course, I thought about finances.
All the possibilities,
and
all the other
possibilities.
Options.
Correct. But deep inside, I knew I was just happy with what I did. And I feel great fulfillment inside me, just helping other students. So
there's a beauty in it. And I use that word intentionally because there is something about working with young people, especially about their future, that just is so exciting. For me, it's that moment, I think, when you see that they notice something about themselves or they are all of a sudden inspired about their own possibilities, maybe. I don't know.
Exactly. I'll say all of the above.
Yeah. And I think, too, just the fact, just hearing what you shared about your own story, I think that knowing that your story, your experience gives hope to someone, that's gratifying, too. It has to be.
Yes, absolutely. And I also share my story with a lot of students that apply to Texas A&M University. And for whatever reason, they're not happy with the offer that they receive from Texas A&M.
Yes.
And I say, wait, it's not the end. You can still be an Aggie.
Yes.
There are multiple ways and pathways that can get you here. And I'll share my pathway and how I got here. And I tell students that I went through the community college pathway. For students that are interested in engineering, if they're not happy with the offer that they received from Texas A&M, they wanted to be in College Station immediately, I tell them about how the different pathway works. And then, of course, I share about the one that I'm passionate about, which is the Engineering Academy pathway.
As passionate as you are with working with young people and their future, what are some of the challenges? Because it's not, again, as much as I love working with young people, it's not always easy and it's not always fun. Sometimes it can be challenging or frustrating. What are those aspects for you?
Well, I would say some of the frustrations can be just the fact that my current role when I work with a student is starting at a community college. it's a good option for many students. Unfortunately, some students can see it as they're not going to receive the same type of education as starting at a university.
It's lesser in some way.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And some may feel that they would be lower compared to other students that are starting at a university. But my goal is to share with them that that is not the case. They will get very quality education at a 2-year institution.
You just have a different start. And
yes,
we all have
just
different
a different start.
Yeah,
yes,
we have different starts in life.
That's exactly. And in addition to that, it can add more degrees into the resume. Mm-hmm. Just like me, I mean, I was fortunate that I got to associate's degree.
Yes.
Out of this deal. So, which I did not know about it. Mm-hmm. It's so interesting to me that when I transferred to Texas A&M, I did not complete my associate's degree at Blaine. I did not know at the time about reverse transferring.
Oh, interesting. Let's talk about that. Explain that.
Sure. So what students can do, and actually that has been in place for many years now, is that if they don't complete their associate's degree, they can transfer to a 4-year institution. Mm-hmm. Or for students, they transition to a 4-year institution. Mm-hmm. And then after 1 or more semesters, they can send their transcript back to the 2-year institution, the community college, and the community college will evaluate and see if a student has enough credits to be given an associate's degree. And that's exactly what happened to me. I actually got my associate's degree at the same time that I got my PhD. I was like,
that's really unique. That is unique. Yeah.
I tell students all the time about the benefit of associate's degree, about starting at a community college. I have to be an example too. So that's what I did. I sent my transcripts back to Blaine College, and I thought I was going to get an Associate of Science in Agriculture, but no, I got another one. I got a bonus. So I also received an Associate of Arts in Social Sciences.
Okay. For those that are listening in and that have advanced degrees, they might ask, okay, David, you have a PhD. Why would you go back and get associate's degrees? Why did you do that? What is the purpose of going back to get associate's degrees when you already have a master's and a PhD?
Well, it's of course, it's more degrees that will be that they can put on their resume.
That's right.
And also it helps the candidate or the person just to share their story as well on a resume. I was a community college student. I started at community college, and I was able to also complete additional degrees as well.
And what a great sense of accomplishment, too. I mean,
exactly.
Again, as I was prepping for our talk, I thought, David has 5 degrees. So it's impressive. So for those that like to complete, like to say that they've completed this program, this task, they've earned this. That's a great sense of accomplishment, I would imagine.
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And with the Engineering Academy program with our students, when the student transition, if they do not have an associate's, we send them emails. Hey, make sure that you work with our registrar's office to send your transcript back to your community college to see if they can award you another degree as well, because that would only help you.
So what I'm also hearing is all the support that the academies provide to the students. I know way back when I started college, I was kind of floundering, trying to figure it out all myself. Now, probably most of that was on me, not looking for help or maybe not knowing how to help. So with the academies, is there an outline and expectation of what students can expect as far as support? Do you guys also communicate a lot with parents, or is it only with the student?
So we do with parents in the very beginning. with the application process and also orientation. After that, a lot of our students are either over 18 or they're about to turn 18, and that's where most of our communication really goes directly with the student. But of course, there are parents that we meet that oftentimes want to contact with us, but of course, we have to follow the FERPA regulations.
That's right.
For that as well, and we have to make sure that we have all the documents in place, and also the student is present in a lot of the conversations as well. But absolutely, I mean, we start working with parents. A lot of times when even the students is a freshman or even in middle school, and then a lot of parents just fall in love with our programs. Like, I really want my son or daughter to be in this academy when he or she graduates from high school.
And just to repeat, how many academies are there currently?
There are right now 8 academies.
Very good. And can you list them off for us?
I can. So we have one with Blinn College, which is the closest to us. So with Blinn Brenham, Houston Community College. We have another one with Austin Community College, Alamo Community College District, which our Texas A&M classroom is housed in the Northeast Lakeview campus. We have a partnership with Dallas Community College. We have another one with Midland College and South Texas College and Tarrant County College that is also in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
So exciting. Are there any plans for any additional academies that you can speak of?
There are plans. We want to be all over the state.
Yes, make the state maroon.
That's right. That is our plan.
Nice. So I want to turn a little bit. Earlier, you mentioned that you were originally from Brazil.
Correct.
Okay. How old were you when you came to Texas first, or
That's
did
correct.
you end up, to Texas?
Yes, to College Station.
Oh,
Texas.
directly
Actually,
to College Station.
More like Bryan, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Okay.
we moved to the Bryan College Station area because my father came here to get his master's degree.
Very good.
So I was 11 years old, and that's when my father gave me a tour of Texas A&M University. That was August of 1992.
That feels like yesterday, right?
It does.
It feels yesterday.
And I knew then that's where I wanted to go. I knew I wanted to be an Aggie, and I wanted to study here.
So your father was a student here.
He was a student.
Okay.
Environmental science. And
So I'm assuming in your home, academics is important.
it is very important. On both sides, on my dad's side and my mother's side as well. So a little bit about my family story. It all started with my grandfather on my father's side. He came to the United States in the 1930s. He was a diplomat for the Brazilian government in Washington, D.C. He met my grandmother, which is American. Then later in the late 1930s, they moved back to Brazil. My father was born in Brazil, but when he was 5, they all moved back to the United States. My grandfather went to medical school, lived in multiple parts of the country. My father grew up in the Panhandle of Texas, in Plainview, Texas. He went to Texas Tech, and then he went back to Brazil and met my mother. My grandfather stayed, and his last job in the United States was working for Texas A&M University.
Oh, it's in your blood. It's in your blood. It's in your blood.
At the Beauty Health Center here on campus. And in the late 1970s, he retired and went back to Brazil. But, and then in 1992, when I was 11, is when my family decided to move to the United States. I did not know a word of English, so that's why you probably have noticed the accent.
I noticed nothing. Your English is perfect.
So the interesting thing that I always tell a lot of people is that my second language was not English. My second language was Spanish, because the school, which was J-Long Middle School, they put me in the ESL class, and all of the students there were Spanish speakers, and I needed to communicate. And Portuguese and Spanish are very similar, so that was actually my second language. And then throughout time, I learned English.
So you have a sensitivity to students that have a similar background or having to navigate the language.
Yes.
Because that adds an extra layer of difficulty and challenge.
Absolutely. And also just coming to a totally new place with different, everything is different processes. And in addition to that, my parents moved a lot too. So I started at J-Long Middle School, which is in Bryan. Then a year later, they moved. We moved to another middle school, which was St. Branburn Middle School at the time. Then after that, I went to Bryan High School. And then my parents decided to move to College Station. So in high school, I moved to A&M Consolidated, which is great. At the same time, it was very challenging because it's always hard to go to a new place. But I think it really helped me make who I am today. It helped me become more adaptable to situations.
No doubt. Well, let's talk about that, because I think you probably weren't that appreciative of it at the time. And it was making you more adaptable, right? It was not something you can appreciate now. But at the time, how did you navigate that, especially as a young person when you're going through awkward phases and the whole peer pressure thing? How did you manage? How did you cope with the changes of moving?
Yeah, it was very difficult. I just had to accept it and just really try my best. And I wasn't alone, on all of that. I have a sibling that's 1 year older than I am, and we went through it together as well. So I think that helped a lot.
But that, again, all that experience lends itself to guiding students to help them understand what they could be in for once they go off to college, or just navigating terrains that they've never been in before. So that experience is really helpful, I'm sure.
Yes, it was definitely helpful for me. And I do believe in order for us to grow, we have to go through challenges. We have to go through trials. And it's just part of life. And that's what really makes us stronger. And it's all about how you deal with struggles, how you deal with those challenging moments in your life. And I do believe in God, and I feel that you just have to, it's all how you handle it when you go through difficult times. And I try to put a smile on my face and just see it as a blessing, even when I go through difficult times.
It's just a moment. Hopefully it's just temporary.
It's temporary, and it is. Most of those times are temporary, and it's all about how we handle it.
That perspective.
Yeah.
So with all of those changes and challenges of moving around, what were some of the bonuses of doing that? there may not have been many, but what were some of the positive outcomes of moving around, even from country to country, back and forth visiting, or just when you all made Texas your home, Blinn or College Station your home, what were some of the benefits of that, or even going from school to school?
Well, some of the benefits, like for example, going from Brazil to the United States, was of course culturally learning about and experience a new culture and multiple cultures, because there are so many cultures here in the United States. That is one. The other one was, if I stay in Brazil, I don't think I would have learned English or Spanish. So, and also all of the job opportunities and just my career and the career that I've made here, and also the fulfillment that I have with my job. As for high school, at the time, it was great because I got to meet a lot of people.
Yes.
Of course, there were some that were friendly, others not too friendly, but that's part of it.
Right. True. So I want to talk a little bit about your degrees. So you started off with, I want to make sure, the agriculture development.
Yes.
Okay. Why agriculture? What was it about agriculture that you found interesting?
Well, it's because it's in my family. My father, his career, he was a soil scientist, an agronomist in Brazil. He worked in Brazil, he worked in Africa and other countries in South America. My mother grew up in a farm. When she was little, she helped my grandfather pick coffee. And also my grandfather on my father's side, before he became a medical doctor here in the United States, he was an entomologist. So that was in my family. And when we were in Brazil as well, I was around agriculture a lot. So when I was at Blinn, I said, might as well do something that I enjoy, something that I'm familiar with, which it was agriculture. And I was able to do, I had a great time as a student here at Texas A&M. I did 2 agricultural internships. One of them was with a multinational food company called Cargill, and the other one was with the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, which that was super fun.
Which is going on right now.
That's right.
Will you visit? Will you go to the rodeo or to any of the activities, the fair, or any of the concerts while that's going on?
While I was there, I was really working all day. I didn't have much time to see a lot of the different areas of the rodeo. But I still had fun. I was actually responsible for the swine area of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo.
Interesting. But you started there, and you also, I know your PhD is with agriculture, but your focus was on leadership, education, and communication. So why?
The reason was because I knew that I wanted to go in one of those fields, and I loved agriculture and I loved education. And the leadership and communication parts are always bonuses. So that is the reason I chose that PhD program. But my emphasis was on international development and also education, agricultural education. But my dissertation was on transfer students. So I decided to do my dissertation on transfer students transitioning to a 4-year institution, which are land-grant institutions in the southwest part of the United States.
Which worked out perfectly for you,
Yes.
for where you are and what you're working on.
Exactly.
And so with some of the results of your studies and your research, what were some of the aspects that were new to you, or maybe something that really surprised you from that research, that study?
Yeah, absolutely. So part of the study, it was a qualitative research. So I interviewed individuals from multiple offices and departments here at Texas A&M, and I just wanted to see what process or what methods they used to advise students. And what I learned is that some of the individuals that I interviewed, I was told that they advise students the same regardless where they are from or their background. And my findings was it needs to be a little bit different because you have first generation students. Those students do need more, I would say, more help, more guidance than a student that is coming from a family where their parents went to college. International students as well. I see it myself when we came to the U.S. I was lost. A lot of those students are lost. So they do need more attention. So, my findings was that we really need to pay more attention and know the students, understand their background, make them feel welcome as well here, feel that they belong at the 4-year institution.
So for educators, or even in higher education, or even perhaps secondary or elementary, what can we do to make students feel more welcome, help them transition better? Just what are some of the day-to-day, maybe intentional activities that you do with them? Or what are maybe some subtle activities that you can do with students just to help them adjust?
Absolutely. So one of my recommendations was to use a appreciative advising model. And what that is really is just a model that it shows that you care, that you really, really care. But you just don't have to show it. It needs to come from inside of you. So looking at that model or some other similar models, but honestly, it's important that you are in education not for the paycheck. You're there really for helping the student and making sure that they have the tools they need to succeed.
It doesn't matter how much we know. It doesn't matter how much information we have. Because if we don't care, nobody cares about what we know, what we have to offer.
That's correct. Yeah.
And people sense that really quickly, I think. They can pick up on that. I think that's in the subtleties of how we communicate with people, how we communicate the information, but just on what we do every day. I think people are always watching. They're always listening to us, aren't they?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
One of the other aspects I really want to spend some time on too, you mentioned it, it's that perception or the misperception maybe that starting at a junior college is lesser than. I started off at a junior college and so many of my family and friends have, and so many of those with whom we work. But how can we change the culture around that? David, what can we do as people in the field, working with young people and parents and community to help change? Because it's a cultural aspect. It goes far beyond, because we can have great messaging. We can have all the great materials to talk about how it's just as good. It's even better sometimes. But culturally, what can we do to change that whole notion that it's lesser than to start off?
Yes. I think one of the ways is that we need to do a better job in doing more outreach about community colleges and individuals that have been very successful, that started at a 2-year institution, highlighting a lot of those examples. I believe that can be a way.
Yes.
Of course, when I go out to the high schools and I talk to students about starting the community colleges, a lot of students are already dual enrolled at a community college. Say, no, I'm already a community college student.
Yes.
I'm ready for college.
Yes.
It's like, well, you can stay one more year.
Yes.
And instead of being dual enrolled with your high school, you're not going to be dual enrolled with Texas A&M.
Yes.
And you can still stay locally. You can still save a lot of money that way.
And I think the foresight of the university having these academies is changing the culture too, that such a reputable institution, Texas A&M, that's encouraging, that's allowing for these academies at junior colleges. I think that in itself changes culture.
Yes, absolutely. These partnerships are definitely doing that. University of Houston has a Engineering Academy in Houston with 2 locations now.
Nice.
And it's so great to see that other universities are following, and they can see our success and are doing similar programs as well.
So what do we have to look forward to next? I know you can't talk about the new academies that may or may not be coming up through the state, but do you have any activities throughout your academy, like this academic year? What's happening maybe this month, next month? Do y'all have any activities you'd like to share or talk about?
Yes, absolutely. So we have a brand new academy that just opened up 2 weeks ago. It's with South Texas College, so we're very excited about that. On March 7th, I'm going to be there. I'm going to do 2 in-person information sessions. One at noon, another one at 6:30.
Just really quickly, what's the location? What city is that in?
It's in McAllen, Texas.
McAllen. Okay, just
Yes.
wanted the audience to know.
Yes.
Okay, very
Thank
good.
you.
Yes.
Yes, and in addition to that, we're doing in-person information sessions in addition to virtual through Zoom sessions. And all of that information can be found on the Engineering Academies website.
Nice. Okay, that's March 7th.
Yes, the in-person one in South Texas College in McAllen will be March 7th. But we have virtual info sessions every 2 weeks.
Nice.
So we just ask the audience just to go online and please join and attend one of our information sessions.
Well,
Multiple ones.
Wonderful. And we'll make sure to disseminate that information as well. But for the summer, does the academies as an organization, as a unit, do you all do anything special during the summer that students or parents can look forward to?
Yes, absolutely. So for rising seniors, we continue to have these information sessions. We still go out to community events, and we also do our virtual information sessions.
So it never stops.
Well, it never stops. Recruitment never stops. And that's also the time that we do our orientations for the students that are starting in the fall. So summer is a busy time as well.
Yes.
We're getting those students prepared to enroll in our program.
As we begin to close out our conversation, what else, David, what else do we need to talk about? What else would you like to highlight before we close?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say and reiterate that starting at a 2-year institution is definitely a good path for a lot of students. And it was for me, it was for a lot of our students in the Engineering Academy program.
Me too.
Yes.
Nice.
So I did not know you
Yes.
had started it, and you
Yes.
went all the way to your doctoral degree as well. So the community college really gave us this very strong foundation, and it gives this foundation to go and get our master's and our doctoral degree.
And
as well.
each degree, I think, gives you that, not only the knowledge, but that self-assurance that, you know what?
I can do this.
I can do this.
Yes.
I can do it, and I can do more things. That's wonderful.
Right. That's right.
Well, on that note, I want to thank you, David, for coming in and sharing your information about the academies and your own personal experience. I think we just can't share enough about the academies and all the hard work you all do, because I know you all are everywhere and you work very, very hard.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So to our audience, thank you so much for listening in today. I hope you've had the opportunity to listen to the entire conversation and all of our other conversations on all of our platforms. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.